It's been a long road getting from...
Anyone familiar with this channel will know that I love Star Trek Enterprise. In fact, there's an entire playlist dedicated to the series. With Enterprise having recently celebrated its 20th anniversary, I thought I'd pitch my idea for a follow-up series. Because what the world really needs right now is more new Star Trek content. Don't forget to give this video a like, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. The series takes place roughly 20 years after the events of Enterprise, around the year 2175, and depicts the early years of the United Federation of Planets. Hence the title, Star Trek Federation. Not to be confused with the undeveloped series proposal from 2006. The series follows Admiral Jonathan Archer, retired. After leaving Starfleet, Archer is now serving as a member of the Federation Council. Coincidentally, according to Archer's biography from In a Mirror Darkly, Part 2, he became a Federation Council member in 2175. Having been instrumental in the Federation's inception, Archer must now protect it from new threats both within and without. On a more personal note, Archer struggles with his celebrity status, something he was never fully comfortable with on Enterprise. The series will see the more seasoned Archer grow to not only accept, but embrace his place in history. Like Star Trek Picard, the series will feature a mixture of new and familiar faces. Federation will introduce characters such as the Federation President, other council members, and various alien delegates. This series could also feature more civilian characters. For example, Archer might sometimes visit a bar, possibly the 602 Club, to seek advice from the bartender, a character akin to Guinan on The Next Generation. Given his love of dogs, and the unfortunate reality of time, Archer will be accompanied by a new canine companion in this series.
I grew up with dogs. Can't remember not having one.
Federation will also reintroduce characters from Enterprise, some in recurring or guest roles, while others will feature more prominently. T'Pol is now the Vulcan ambassador to Earth. Pairing this older version of Archer with a character who has always been older than she appears could create an interesting dynamic. T'Pol's inclusion in this series would also present an opportunity to rectify some of the more dated aspects of her characterization on Enterprise. Malcolm Reed and Travis Mayweather have both achieved the rank of captain, and now command their own starships. Given that Travis was easily the most underused character on Enterprise, ideally this series would give him more to do. Hoshi Sato has returned to teaching, and is now an instructor at the recently established Starfleet Academy. Dr. Phlox is once again living on Denobula with his wives and children, giving incentive to finally visit the planet on screen. Of course, any follow-up to Enterprise would have to include everyone's favourite Andorian, Shran.
Look at the trouble you've gotten your pink skin into this time.
His daughter Tala was one of the first Andorians to enlist in Starfleet. Well, technically half Andorian. Also, I'm sure a way could be found for Trip to return. I mean, they already brought him back in the novels. In fact, as I've already alluded to, Federation would offer a chance to fix some of the shortcomings of its predecessor, including the much maligned finale, These Are the Voyages. The series could even repurpose some of the ideas we likely would have seen explored had Enterprise been renewed for a 5th season. Given advances in de-aging, Federation could include flashbacks to major events, such as the Earth-Romulan War. Though the Federation is now at peace with the Romulan Star Empire, there is still a general sense of trepidation surrounding this unseen enemy. The founding of the Federation has also stifled diplomatic relations between Earth and the Klingon Empire. Neither of these powers will have a major presence in this series. However, this rising tension will retroactively foreshadow the eras of Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek the Original Series. Speaking of which, Federation will of course include Easter eggs and references linking the series to the wider Star Trek universe. For instance, Archer could encounter Ensign Tiberius Kirk, or perhaps T'Pol could mention a promising Vulcan pupil by the name of Sarek. Of course, like any series, Federation would need to balance fan service with new storytelling opportunities. The main focus of the series will be the growing pains of the Federation. Unlike other Star Trek series, Federation primarily takes place on Earth, though certain episodes, or even entire arcs, will see characters venture off-world. The series will feature ongoing character and story arcs, as well as standalone episodes. It will combine elements of political drama and political thriller, much like episodes such as The Forge, Babel 1, and Demons. Instead of universe-ending threats, the stakes will be more ideological, as characters strive to uphold the values upon which the Federation was founded. Having been decommissioned in 2161, Enterprise herself will not feature prominently in the series, though, as mentioned previously, the ship could appear in flashbacks. We do know that Enterprise was placed in a museum. Perhaps one episode could see Archer revisit his old ship in search of inspiration. Regardless, the series will pay tribute to Earth's first Warp 5 capable starship. Of course, the absence of the NX-01 doesn't necessarily mean the series won't feature any NX-class starships. In fact, Federation could see the canonical debut of Doug Drexler's NX-class refit, also known as the Columbia class. The series will also feature new starship designs. Given its placement in the timeline, Federation could help bridge the visual gap between classic and modern Star Trek. So, do I think a series like this is likely to happen? Maybe. Scott Bakula was, and arguably still is, the most recognisable actor from Enterprise, so it makes sense to centre a new series around him. Also, now that NCIS New Orleans has ended, Bakula would potentially be available to reprise the role of Jonathan Archer. The Enterprise cast have remained active in the Star Trek community. I'm sure most, if not all of them, would be willing to return. In fact, Jeffrey Combs recently lent his voice to Star Trek Lower Decks.
Agamas reigns! With this ship's materials, I will produce a whole fleet of murder drones! This planet, nay, this system, will be mine!
I don't know that a series like this would necessarily match the current trajectory of the franchise. But either way, I had fun coming up with this pitch. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you would like to see a series like this. Also, feel free to share your own ideas. If you enjoyed this video, why not give it a like? Maybe share it with a friend. Or an enemy. Either way, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to see more content here on Channel 73.